All right, here we are back with the Black Line Blueprint. I am here with my athlete client, friend Alex Lebhar, fresh off of first place win in a charity event wrestling tournament. Congratulations.
Thank you, Coach. I appreciate it. Couldn't have done it without you.
That's all you, man, all you. So yeah, man, just what made you decide to do this tournament? And do you always do this? Is a annual thing?
Yeah, so this is actually the fourth time I've competed in this tournament. It's become an annual event for me, and uh, the premise behind it was I saw that it was a charity fundraiser where wrestlers who don't get to compete in wrestling tournaments anymore, it gave them an opportunity to still put on the shoes, put on the singlet, and compete again for that nostalgia's sake. But in addition to that, it happened to fall on one of my best friends' anniversary, and he had a outdoor apparel company that's motto was challenge life. And I said, hey, what better way to challenge life than to go out and compete again and see if I still got it and test myself and do it in his honor. So it
Oh,
has a
that's
joint
nice.
purpose, and it's been really fulfilling to do so.
Yeah, man. Yeah, that's. What? Why are you trying to bring me to tears right now?
Sorry to get heavy right away, but yeah, it's kind of weird how it's ended up kind of finding multiple purposes. It's I feel like with that as kind of a internal motivator, it takes a lot of the pressure off having to win or compete like a certain way. I just get to go out there and let it fly, have fun because that's the kind of memories I have with my friend. And I think that was the message that he was trying to promote with the winter athletes that he supported. And 4 years in, I've been able to do so and compete hard. And this was the first time I've actually won the tournament. So I guess
Okay,
it's all working out okay.
gotcha. That's good, man. That's really beautiful, and I'm glad to hear that. He's still living on, through you, with that, and his message still lives on. That's a beautiful thing, man. Yeah. So you said this is the first time you won. Is it the same people that come back year after year?
So it depends. Sometimes I'll see people that I've competed against in the past. This year, my bracket was full of people I've never competed against before.
Okay.
So I remember I think I went third, second, and this is the first time I went undefeated. But I always will wrestle somewhere between 3 to 4 matches. And because I do the open division, the tougher one, they're usually the long 2-2-2 periods. And by two, I mean 2 minute periods. So it
Okay.
simulates being in like high school in season shape. And most of the people haven't been training consistently. So given that I have the luxury of working with you and having a system for strength conditioning, I feel like it's actually advantageous for me to have those longer matches. So,
Right. Yeah. So you're just like, huh, I'm gonna do these longer matches. I'm pretty sure they're not in tip top shape right now.
yeah, usually by the mid second period, they're fading out.
Oh man. So walk me through it. Like, how many people was it? Like any adversity, you faced throughout? Like, how did you feel in your body during and after?
Yeah, so across all the weight classes and divisions, I think there was around 75 that competed. Within my weight class and division, I think there was four of us in the bracket. So I wrestled all three of the other opponents. This was one of the first times where it was relatively smooth. I think that I had a pin the first match. I won 8-3 the second match, and then I had a tech pin in the third match. So things were firing pretty well.
Okay.
Usually I get a little dinged up during this event, and this was the first time I haven't had something where I've been really hurting right after, right during the match. So outside of being a little sore, I've been really fortunate. This was probably the smoothest it's gone. So
Wow. Yeah, that's great.
yeah.
You go to a competition, you compete, you win, and your body feels good.
Yeah, that's always the goal. First is get through it healthy without injury, and second is give good effort and build on things that you do competitively. And then third is obviously we all want to win if we're competing because, as you know, training combat sports athletes, they're a very competitive bunch.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. So was there a moment like early on where you knew it was going to go your way, like throughout the tournament?
Yeah, I felt like once I got through the first exchange or so with each of my opponent, I could feel out things, and I just knew if I just stayed in a really good position and got to the positions that I was good at, that it was going to work out for me. And I think that's a theme that goes into most combat sports is you try to put yourself in the positions where you're good and stay out of the ones where your opponent's good. And if you can dictate those things early and often, I think they work out pretty well for you.
Gotcha. Yeah. Yeah, I hear that often. It's just like, okay, like really trying to get into a position that I'm the best in and avoid their positions that they're good in
Yep.
as much as possible. So, what part of like training leaded up to this that you realized was a big benefactor to you going into this? And I know you still train your wrestlers, right?
Yeah, so outside of the training that we do together, I'm a wrestling coach both for a high school and a K through 8 club. So I try to lead by example and do a lot of the workouts with the kids and do a lot of rolling around and live goes with the kids to stay in shape. So, I'm not trying to ask them to do something that I wouldn't be willing to do myself. I think that's helped from a mental aspect as well as there's a different type of shape when it comes to wrestling versus say running a 5K, which I know we do a lot of running, or I do a little bit of running outside of the strength and conditioning program, and I think those all kind of combined well into preparing me, and then working with you through some of the lifestyle hacks of figuring out stress management, sleep, nutrition, all those things have come together pretty holistically to support me.
Solid. Yeah, man. Yeah, I was thinking about that just now that we were thinking about, oh, sleep was a little off recently, right? And then
Yep.
it was like, hey, I plan on doing this competition during the weekend. Can you adjust training? I was just like, simple. Get rid of this one training session and we'll reduce the volume on this other one. Easy as that.
Yeah. And it was funny, like the week of the competition, I think I was starting to hit some record numbers through our program with like the
Oh,
deadlifting
yeah.
and some of the single leg exercises. So it actually worked out really well
Yeah.
with, the tailoring. And I think that's where having that structure is really important.
Oh, yeah, man. It was like you were peaking, but weren't really trying to peak unless you already knew that you were about to do this competition and I just didn't have any clue.
It kind of worked out funny. I think I signed up for the competition about a week and a half, 2 weeks ago. So it
Oh,
happened to crossroad pretty well together. But I think
yeah.
with the load management that we have in our, in our program that it keeps you fresh and it keeps you where you're able to jump at the bit whenever competition comes your way.
Yeah, exactly that, man. You said it. I don't need to say anything. So, how did you stay locked in through this tournament? I know you said that, really you were thinking about your friend as well, but what were there any other factors that helped you kind of stay locked into it?
Yeah, I think from my competitive background as well as some of the research I do on the mindset aspect of our sport, I usually have a pretty structured, consistent routine pre-match where about 3 to 4 matches before I'm up, I'm usually up moving, staying light on my feet, working on my breath, making sure that my heart rate's not too high. As I get closer to the actual match getting called up, I use some mantras to help keep me focused. And it's three
Okay.
things that I learned from the wrestling mindset group. The first one is, hey, I'm grateful to compete because I get to. It's not like anyone's putting a gun to my head and saying, hey, you got to go compete today. So being grateful, I also say it doesn't matter who I'm wrestling against. So whether it's a guy who's wrestled for 6 minutes or someone who's wrestled their entire life and they're Olympic gold champion, it doesn't matter. And then the third thing is, hey, I got to get to my offense. So those are things that are within my control. I'm not worried about, hey, I got to win. I just got to get to my offense or I got to get to the next point. I got to score. And if you take it as process versus outcome, it takes a lot of the pressure off of competing and you're able to let it fly. And when you're able to let it fly, good things happen for you.
Man, I like that. I like that. I'm gonna have to use that sometimes when I'm talking to people to motivate. Like, hey man, just let it fly.
Yep.
Gotcha. So throughout this like experience, this tournament, like this time, like what was one of the like biggest lessons you're taking away from, this performance?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is, each year I'm getting older. I just turned 30 this year, and I'm noticing every year I have to be slightly more intentional with how I'm training, how I'm recovering, how I'm balancing my lifestyle. I demand a lot from my body, so I realize that in order to keep doing that without getting injured, as I have in years past, I just have to be a little bit more intentional with the bigger picture. I
Mm-hmm.
think having a good balance there was important. And then in addition, I think having the right mindset going in was really helpful as well. Just having that reinforced mindset. I think, with me being a coach now and trying to instill some of these principles in my kids and making sure that they're able to compete to the best of their ability and their highest potential, I have to model it myself. And, if I can do it in a way that's inspiring for them, then I think it gets more buy-in from them and we're able to continue to grow on our year-over-year goals as a team.
Yeah, man. That's that whole thing about practicing what you preach, right?
Yep. There's a really good mental health expert out there, and he says, don't give your advice, live your advice, because people will get the message by watching you.
I like it. Wow.
A lot
Say
of
that
those
one more time
things,
for the
they just
people.
stick with me.
Gotcha, man. Yeah, that's good. So, what's next for you? Like, do you have anything else lined up as far as any other tournaments on the list, or what?
Nothing actively scheduled, but I'm always keeping an eye out. I think from our conversations and our time working together, I'm usually trying to find something where I'm challenging myself, whether it's, hey, I'm going to try to run a 20-minute 5K, or hey, I'm going to go hike this really tall mountain, or hey, let's go compete in a wrestling tournament for the first time in a year. Who knows? Maybe I decide to find a jiu-jitsu tournament where takedowns are rewarded and I don't have to be as good at like heel hooks, and maybe I could try to like gamify that a little bit to my advantage. But I'm sure I'll find something soon, and as soon as I do, we'll be talking about it and adjusting the training as such.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. Hey, be careful with those those jujitsu tournaments. They'll rip your leg off.
Yep.
Yeah, I think I've seen like some previews of a wrestler just trying to go in that had no experience in jujitsu, and maybe one or two people they dominated, but when they actually got to that experienced person, it was overjuiced.
Yeah, I definitely would be relying very heavy on my past experience training with the guys in fight team and some of
Right.
those situational things. Obviously, it's more MMA context than it was jiu-jitsu, but I would
Yeah,
definitely have to hope that I retain some of the teachings that Alon and Vince taught me.
yeah, for sure. Gotcha, man. So we're gonna finish up, wrap it up with some lightning round questions. Just a few questions here, nothing too crazy.
Sure.
So one word to describe how you felt after the tournament.
Accomplished.
Accomplished. Got it. Beautiful. Who's someone that deserves a shout out for this win?
There's two people, if that's okay with you. The first would be
Hey,
my,
I'm not I'm not asking for a shout out here.
yeah, the first person would be Tucker Shivers, my best friend, who I dedicated the tournament to. His company, Conquered Peaks, is an outdoor apparel company, and he has some folks that are continuing his brand in his honor. He's the first one. And then my friend Alicia, who is a physical therapist, she's helped me through some of my injuries that I've had over the course of of the past year or so, and came to support. So just want to shout her out. She's awesome. She's been a big help for me and a good friend as well.
Yeah. What's the name of her physical therapy business?
I don't remember. I think she is part of like a bigger organization. I don't think she has her own thing yet. She tends to keep herself a little bit out of the limelight, so
Okay.
I'll leave it at that for
All
her.
right. All right. I was just trying to promote everyone. You know what I mean?
Agreed.
Um, so here's a big one. I mean, you coach wrestlers right now. So one piece of advice you'd give to younger wrestlers coming up.
Yep. The big thing I would tell them is focus on getting better and having fun. For the young ones, I've been to so many youth wrestling tournaments where parents burn them out, make them hate the sport, and put all this pressure on outcome and competing with their relationships. And I think there has to be a separation where, hey, I'm more than just being a wrestler. Wrestling's something that I do. It's not who I am. And if you can promote that by encouraging them with process based things, hey, you did a really good job at this one thing in the match, and here's something that you can improve on. I think those are things that build sustainable habits that make someone last. And I think that applies across all sports, including MMA. Something that's really physical is think about outcome, not, or think about process, not the outcome.
Mm. See, this is why we work together. This is why. The
Yeah.
mindset. I love that, man. That's a great message. Great message. And I approve.
Yeah. He did not pay me, everybody. He did not pay me to say these things.
Definitely not. Definitely not. Yeah, man. So that was it. I appreciate you showing up again, Alex. And great job during your tournament. Being out of the game for a while, and then coming back and showing those other older guys, what it is. They need to get in shape for next year.
Yep, because I ain't going anywhere. And Freddie, thanks again for everything you do for me. I mean, from figuring out the sustainability aspect of finding new ways to get stronger faster and do all the things that I want to do. A lot of that is possible through working with you and having the structure that I think a lot of us need in having that roadmap. I think it's good to say, hey, every coach should have a coach. So
I appreciate those words, man. I really do. You just don't understand how much those words reinforce me, and they keep me going as a coach. And then it also reinforces me making sure I'm taking care of myself as well, practicing what I preach to all of my clients and all of my friends that I work with.